All right, so we are now on questions number 3, 4, and 5 for um, lesson 20 in Excel modeling. And this is kind of long, so what I'm going to do is I will divide it into two parts. So this is the first video. So we will be using the same file that we have downloaded here, and then we were given with the following data for the assumptions for the strong case, base case, and weak case. So we need to do the assumptions for the three forecasting statistics for the next 2 years for the company PayPal or ticker symbol PYPL. So we were given with this. Now I downloaded a new files just to work on a fresh file. And the first thing that I'm gonna do, since we were already provided with the total revenue, cost revenue, sales general and admin, and other operating items, what I'm gonna do is I will add more columns to the other items that we will need in order to complete the sales forecasting file. We will need the gross profit, operating profit, also gross margin, and operating margin there. So these are the four things that we first need to compute in order to um, answer the questions or complete the file. Let me just make this a little smaller so we can already see that. Okay, and then I will make this bold just to highlight them so you can all see. All right. So we first compute for the gross profit. The formula for the gross profit is total revenue less the cost of revenue. So that's the formula for gross profit. And then I will click enter from my keyboard. Now I can drag this down. So I'm going to use this cursor and then drag it down so it applies all the same computation for every row. So again, the formula for gross profit is total revenue minus cost of revenue. So I have the gross profit. Next, we will need the operating profit. So in order to get the operating profit, you will need to uh, gross profit less the total operating expenses. So that's the sum of sales, general, and admin, and other operating items. So again, we will need to do the parentheses here because we want Excel to do the addition first. So we will need to add the sales, general, and admin, and then other operating expense items, and then subtract it from the gross profit. So we come up with the formula gross profit, which is the I2, less than the sum of G2, which is the sales, general, and admin, and H2, which is the other operating items. Now I'm gonna click enter from my keyboard. Just make this, all right. Now I will drag this down so that it will do the same computation for every row. So that's for the operating profit. Now for the gross margin, what we're gonna do is we will need to get the percentage of the gross margin. So we will do equals 1 minus open parentheses total revenue divided by cost of revenue, and then close it. So we want to get the percentage, that's why I put the 1 there. And then click enter from my keyboard. Okay, sorry, it's the other way around. Cost of revenue divided by total revenue. I'm really sorry. Okay, so just to review, for the gross margin, that's 1 minus F2, that's the cost of revenue, divided by the total revenue. So we are getting the percentage of the cost of revenue compared with the total revenue. And then click enter from your keyboard. Now I'm gonna scroll this down or drag this down to have the formula applied to every row. And then I click K because I want to adjust the number of decimals into 3 decimal values. All right, so I have 3 decimal values there now. Okay, so lastly, we need to get the operating margin. So for the operating margin, the formula is operating profit divided by the total revenue, because we want to see the percentage of the operating profit compared with the total revenue. So equals operating profit divided by the total revenue. We are trying to get what part of the total revenue is the operating profit, and then click enter. And then I'm gonna drag this down. From here, I will do the same. I will adjust the decimal values right there. All right, so I already have everything that I need in order to work on the file. So we have the gross profit, operating profit, gross margin, and then operating margin. The next step that I would do is to prepare my file or prepare my form. Then later on, we will do the calculations. For what I'm gonna do here, you can do the same. You can create another tab, or you can just work on the same tab. I just worked on the same tab because I want to see everything in one place. So what I'm gonna do here is I will just put a border just to separate them. And then I will call this ticker symbol, make this bold, and then I'll put a border here. So this is where I'm gonna put the ticker symbol. And then let's do, here is the year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5. So we were provided with a historical data for year 1 to year 3, and then we will make assumptions for year 4 and 5. Just separate this with a border. All right. So we were provided with the historical data for year 1 to year 3, and then we will look for, or we will work on the assumption for year 4 and year 5. Now, let me just continue here. We will need the revenue, and then COGS. I'm just copying the same format that I saw on the video. Gross profit, and then sales, general, and admin. Sales, general, and admin. And then other operating items. And total operating expenses. And then we have the operating income, or EBIT. Operating income, or EBIT. Then they put it in orange, so let me just do the same. Orange background right there. Okay, so this is for the financial statement, and then we will do the individual here. We need the operating statistics. This is now for the what you call it, for the assumptions based on the historical data, and then assumptions. Operating statistics, and then we have for the operating statistics. So year one, year two, and year three, this is the historical data. Okay, just center this. And then this is for the assumptions, year four and year five. Okay, so we are going to get the revenue growth in percentage, and then the gross margin, and the operating margin right there. Now, let me do this. Let me put this in table so that it's not too confusing. And then this is for the operating statistics. So next is we will do the operating scenarios. So I will call this scenario, and then I will do data validation here, but let me list down the scenario first. Operating scenarios. This template, I just copied it from the videos. Sensitivity analysis. And then I will start with the revenue growth in percentage. There. Revenue growth. So we have 1, 2, 3. Then we do strong case, base case, and then the weak case. Just put 1, 2, and 3 again here. 2 and 3. Now, let me put this again in a table so that it's not confusing. All right, so we will need the assumptions. We are provided with the data for the assumptions of year 4 and year 5. You will get this from Udacity. So for the revenue growth, they have this data for year 4 and year 5. We will put that to our Excel. So revenue growth strong case is 16%. Me do this in percent. Hold on. It's already in percentage. Okay. And then next is, so that's 16, 17. This to in percentage. Hold on. I'm just gonna change this to percent. 17. Next is we have 15.5 for both. 15.5, 15.5. And then lastly, we have 14% for both year 4 and year 5. Year 4, year 5, 16, 17. I only got those from here. Maybe I should center this. Okay, there. So that's for the revenue growth. Next is we have the gross margin. So I will just copy this so I don't have to type it again manually. Then put it here. But I will call this gross margin. And then I will put the data provided here. So that's 0.93, 0.92, and 0.93. The same for both year 4 and year 5. I hope I could memorize that. Let's see. This is not percentage, so let me just change this to number. So that's 0.93 0.93, 0.92, 0.92, and 0.90. Let's see if I'm correct. All right, so I still remember 0.93, 0.92, 0.90, 0.93, 0.92, 0.90. All right, so for the last item, we have the operating margin. So I will just copy this as well and then paste it here. Change the label to operating margin and then put all the data here, 0.17, 0.15, 0.14. So the same for year 4 and year 5. I'll see if I could remember. 0.17, 0.17, 0.15, 0.15, 0.14, and 0.14. Let's see if I'm correct and correct. Okay, so I already have here my table. Just one last thing. This is where I'm gonna put my validation. So on the video, we were they showed different ways on how to create a data validation. So what I would do is a little simpler. Well, I will just highlight this. So this is where I will want to put the drop down. I will click data, the data validation, and then click this, select data range, and I will just get it directly from the list, this one, and then click OK and save. So I already have here the strong case, base case, and weak case. So everything is already here. I am now ready for the computation or the formulas, which I'm going to show on the other video.